In fact, we should just talk about SmackDown now because he was on SmackDown and he had that match with Ray that went like 8 hours, and it was just incessant heat beating on this guy for like
beating on Ray forever.
Just beat on him forever, leading to a shitty finish, and it was just such go-away heat. But that's what they do with the guy. But it's not like he's a bad worker. It's not like he's bad.
No one is.
He's just in a shitty situation.
Well, I thought that match was fine for what it was. I mean, it's just
a boring match. Yes, for a boring match, it was in fact fine.
I wasn't bored with it. I never get bored with Ray matches anyway. But the thing with Ray is you got all of that, storyline stuff. You had Dominic there, you had Seth there. You know what I mean? It's just all kinds of. There's all that stuff with Ray. I mean, it's like because of the nature of the storyline that they're doing, and it's not like Ray's being built up for anything but this storyline. It's kind of like normally if I would watch like Ray and Corbin, and it's just like, and Corbin wins, I go like, Ray's the, even though he's older, Ray's the more marketable of the two, especially because you need Hispanic stars. Corbin is just a guy. I mean, he's a pretty serviceable heel and everything, but he's, whenever you build too much around him, it's kind of a negative. But because of the nature of this thing, I mean, the whole thing is it's not really wins and losses in the Ray thing at all. It's all about the progression of the storyline. It's all about what the hell they're doing with Murphy and Aaliyah. And they did a nice little twist where, it's, I found it very intriguing. Murphy, makes no sense. He's back with Seth. But he's telling Aaliyah that it's the greater good. So you're almost like, is he working Seth? You know what I mean? Trying to tell her to be patient and everything like that while she's freaking out because, he's back with Seth.
That is the story they're telling you, that this is some sort of plan that Murphy has. I have no idea what it could be, so I hope they have something good. But that's apparently the story. He's doing something, and Aaliyah has to trust him, and she's upset about it, but it looks like she's going to trust him.
Yeah, and Ray and Dominic, that gives them more excuse to be madder at her for not getting it. So this is one of the SmackDown, and obviously, I mean, the ratings are going up. They got 3 hot things. They got Roman Reigns with no opponents, and it's so funny because it's like, okay, like the 3 opponents that you would come up with that they could go with. You got Daniel Bryan, who Jey Uso beat clean, and not in a way like the injury is a way to bring him back. But it's like they did nothing for Daniel Bryan to make him look like a contender. And then you got Kevin Owens, who Jey Uso just beat. And in that match, which was a good match, but again, it didn't in any way, shape, or form make you think Kevin Owens is ready for Roman Reigns. So Roman's got no opponents, but it's funny because...
Yeah, but Dave, here's the deal. These people don't think 2 pay-per-views ahead. They're thinking
they don't even think 2 weeks ahead.
Well, that's my point. So right now Roman doesn't need an opponent. He's got an opponent for Survivor Series. It's Randy Orton. And so they're not thinking about, okay, well, what is Roman Reigns? They'll figure out what to do with Roman Reigns like the day after Survivor Series. And then they'll start building somebody up then, and we'll say, well, why is this guy getting the shot? He got beaten 50 times last month. And the answer will be the same answer as always. Well, they figure you're going to forget, and away we go.
Yeah, but they need to get. I mean, the problem with SmackDown. I mean, it's not the problem with Raw. Raw's got a strong. The only strong babyface in the whole company is frickin' Drew McIntyre. Every other babyface is like they have some strong heels. But yeah, that's the whole. I mean, I think that's been the biggest problem. It's so funny because, I mean, Roman Reigns is a heel that you can build around and carry the brand. But even then, to make a good heel, you need a good baby face to offset him. I mean, just a heel who's directing everything. I think for ratings, it's okay. Although, I mean, it's a 3-pronged thing. I think the ratings, obviously this week, the ratings were the Sasha Banks and Bayley match, which I liked that match a lot. I thought that match was really great. Sasha Banks is such a good worker and Bayley, as is Bayley. I mean, like, they've definitely taken main roster women. Like they're way ahead of the pack of everybody else right now as far as the main roster goes. I'm not saying that that Io Shirai's not at their level. I mean, Asuka is, but she's got no opponents right now. So those two they just tore it up. Great match. And then when it's over, it's like Sasha Banks and Carmella, which will be okay.
Dude, they blew this off to bring in Carmella. We rushed through this feud and we broke up this team and we did this match so we can move on to Carmella.
Yeah, wasn't it way too early?
You telling me? Remember
Way
all those
too
people before the draft that were thinking of all these wacky ideas to put one on this brand and one on that brand, and we can keep this thing going through WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble? Next thing you know, they blew it off, and it's Carmella facing Sasha Banks.
They did all that. They did all those videos for Carmella. I never thought it was to go against Sasha Banks.
I didn't.
No, I didn't either. I wouldn't. It wouldn't be Michael. Bailey's so good. So So is she going to be like on the Survivor Series team or something, and then have nothing to do?
I don't know.
I mean, you can't keep going with the same two people against each other forever. You do have to make changes at some point. But those two have such great chemistry together, and they're freaking, that quarter hour that they did. I don't have the number. I'll have the number tomorrow. But I mean, I know it was the biggest in months and months and months. The Sasha and maybe they should have put him on last and maybe
absolutely they should have put him on last. What were they thinking? Opening the show with that and then
I know because they didn't keep the number for the rest of the show. But and it was clearly the main event. But that was a really good match. And then when it was over and it's like Carmella lays out Sasha Banks, and it's like, we're going with this, but maybe it'll be okay. It
doesn't matter if it'll be okay. What they had before absolutely would have been better. When they were a tag team, it was the best stuff that they had on several shows. As feuding partners, it was great. And now it's done. I promise you the Carmella feud is not going to be as good as Sasha and Bailey as a team or them wrestling each other.
Obviously, it's not going to be as good.
So it's a step down.
Yeah, I think it's 3 steps down. But the thing is like, hopefully, it's like an interlude for a little while, and they go back to the other one. Because I got to think, because he got 2 matches out of it, I guess. 2 serious matches. That wasn't worth breaking up the team if that's where it ends. I think you got to go back to it. But anyway, that's what they got there. I didn't really see too much else as far as the Smackdown thing went. What was the other stuff that they did there? They did. I got my notes right here. The Bailey match, the Corbin match with Ray. What else? Oh, Ruby Riott with her new look makes the team. I guess it's something.
Yeah, fluke win, and then they protect somebody that lost. That was good.
Yeah, and then Otis and Seth. With Murphy helping, doing the distraction and everything like that. You knew that, you knew Seth would win. I'll tell you what, man, that Otis, all of the people he was working with or on the other brand, it's like he's lost. I mean, they spent all that time building him up, and he's got all that charisma, and it's like he's lost. He's another one. Like I don't know that he could work with Roman, but he's he's another one. I mean, he needs something. I don't know what were they thinking with sending Tucker to the other side. I mean, if nothing else, when he cost him that match, at least they could have done a feud and something. I mean, look at Tucker now. I mean, my God.
Hey, at least Tucker won a title tonight.
Oh God, please.
He's a 24/7 champion. So what did you think of the Smackdown show?
I thought it was really good, but very disorganized. Obviously, they did a really good job. I would say, watching it on TV, I would have had no idea that Liv Morgan winning was an audible and called at the last minute or anything like that. And they didn't tell you that Chelsea Green was injured. You didn't get any sense of that, but
I knew she had gotten hurt, but so I can't really say for sure if I would have noticed it during the match. But I mean, she takes a bump outside, and it's not even like anything weird. I mean, I guess she put her hand down, and that's how she broke her wrist when she got bumped off the apron. But
yep.
As soon as she gets bumped off that apron,
She disappears.
She disappeared, and the match got really weird. Like there was a cover, and it was clear that they were expecting her to break it up, and she didn't. And then Liv and Natty are doing spots, and Liv keeps looking outside, as I guess they were just trying to figure out what to do at that point. And then Liv goes and she hits a code breaker on Natty, and Natty kicks out. And then Tamina gets figured it out, and she immediately hits the ring. And Liv hits Codebreaker on her, and she pins her.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the sequence of events were, who told the ref, and when the ref told them, and when they decided Liv was going over, and what was going on. But
Liv was originally going over. Okay, so originally. Okay, so there's a bunch of sequences here. So originally, when this match was sort of put together, or a match something similar to this was put together in the original script, Liv was going over. But then on Thursday night, Friday morning, Vince tore up the whole script and rewrote the show with Pritchard, I guess. But none of the writers and none of the producers, they all had the old show. So literally nobody knew the show. So like when Sami Zayn did that interview and said, like, all of a sudden at 7 o'clock, I get told that I'm, wrestling Apollo Crews for the title.
Yeah, he's all upset that he's wrestling Apollo with an hour's notice, he said.
Yeah, because I don't know as a fact, but based on what was going on that day, most likely that was about the time he was told, because everybody during the afternoon, like everybody's frantic because the producers and the writers have no idea what the show is. And they had already written a show, but they had no idea what it was because Vince tore it all up. So in the show that they wrote, there was some sort of a match where Liv Morgan was going to win and she was going to go to Survivor Series. I don't know if it's a three-way or what, but Chelsea Green was not on that show. But she lives close and somehow, some way, somebody suggests, Vince or Bruce change the match, put Chelsea Green over, and then she's there. And so Liv Morgan was, when the show was originally written, Liv Morgan was going to win a match to go to a Survivor Series. So that's just and she ended up doing that. So very, very strange set of circumstances, to say the least. But I thought that the show was good. So the Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio thing, it's like you have this big blow-off of this feud with no advertising of it because they didn't know it. I mean, it wasn't, they didn't have a match. They didn't have a match planned, and then they came up with it, and the show starts, and they go right to this blow-off of this multi-month feud. I mean, they were going to do the blow-off at some point soon because Seth's only going to be around for another week or two because he's taking time off. But that was really weird, too. So they had a great match.
I just figured that somebody at some point during the day realized it was the anniversary of Eddie's death, and they figured, let's give these Mysterios a happy ending today, although they didn't bring it up on commentary or anything like that.
It was never mentioned at all. I don't think that
how you could have the Rey Mysterio-Seth Rollins blow-off match literally with zero advertising whatsoever. I think they may have announced it at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific or something like that.
Did they? I don't even think it was announced before the show.
I feel like I saw it somewhere like shortly before the show started, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was just flabbergasted. And then next week, they're blowing off Buddy Murphy and Seth next week.
Well,
which at least they advertised on social media today, but there was no mention of that on the TV show.
No, it was mentioned on the TV show.
It was mentioned?
The Seth and Buddy Murphy match, oh yeah, it was definitely mentioned during the show, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But, but that's, they've got to clean this all up because Seth's taking time off, so, which they have known, I don't know how long they've known. I mean, I've known for maybe, I don't know, a few days, a week maybe, not even a week. I think I knew midweek that Seth was taking time off. Maybe Thursday, now that I think about it. But so that's probably, that probably just came up this week, and they figured that they've got to, Ray's got to get a win, I guess, because Seth's going to be out for however long he's going to be out. So that was very strange. I thought with all of the stuff that's going on, that all of a sudden, now they've kind of blown off that whole thing with Buddy Murphy and, Buddy Murphy shaking hands with Ray and Dominic and everybody happy. I thought we had weeks and weeks left before we got there.
It was also weird because they shook hands. Buddy and Aaliyah are together. And all I could think was, now what?
Yeah.
Are you going to get married? Where's the storyline go from here?
Well, we'll find out. I mean, I figured that he turns on her at the end. I mean, the one thing is that when I watch them, it's like she at least, is very good at acting like she's into him. But he is like supposed to act like he's into her, and I don't buy it for a second. It's just like he's either the worst actor in the world, or he wants you to know that he's turning on her. I don't know which it is. I only know that the Conan and Stacey Colon deal in Puerto Rico, which seems to be a copy of, ended with Conan turning on Stacey Colon, on the day of the marriage, I think. As I recall, I think it was the day of the marriage. But he definitely turned on her after an engagement and everything. So maybe it's an engagement and then he turns on her the day of the marriage and then they're back feuding. I don't know. I don't know how, what, we'll see where it goes. I mean, it was a good feud. And I thought that like I said, the match was really good. We had the thing at the end. So, which, you had to do at this point. As far as, well, you didn't, I mean, you had to do something with Ray and Seth. You didn't really have to put them together. I thought it was early, but we'll see where it's going. And then, the rest of the show is, the key stuff is building up Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, which is contingent on Drew McIntyre winning the title tomorrow. And I don't know that he does. I mean, it's the only thing that I could think of, because obviously they did this to make you think that Drew McIntyre is winning the title, so you tune in on Monday to watch him win the title. And that's certainly very viable. I mean, in the sense of you built up the match with Reigns, and the whole show's building up a match with Reigns and Drew McIntyre. But I don't know for sure they're going to do that. I would be relatively sure that at some point they will do that match. If they don't do it now, that tells me that they're probably going to do it at WrestleMania, which is interesting because I don't think that they would go so hard on something and never deliver. Not that that's never happened before, but he went and beat Jey Uso, who they've been protecting. So that means that they're going to do, that is a direction they're going to plan. And then, will they do it at Survivor? I mean, they could do it at Survivor Series. It's a better match. I don't think Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, I mean, which would be technically a good match. I don't think it just means anything right now. Where Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, based on this, at least you got a little bit of something on a card that doesn't have a lot of stuff going for it. That's supposed to be a major card. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But in theory, they should have a really good rating on Monday based on having that championship match. And
they could also do, which is a really shitty way out of it, but you could always have Miz cash in during the match, and one of them beats him, and that's your finish.
So Miz would have to cash in on Orton, and then you have McIntyre beating Miz. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just like Seth Rollins at that one WrestleMania. He cashes in during the match, and it becomes a three-way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be okay. So you're gonna have so Miz just
he cashes in, he fails, or he could win if you want to have Roman Reigns kill him, but he could also cash in and fail, get the money.
Oh yeah, well you could
get the stupid briefcase off of the guy.
Yeah, you could always do that to take the briefcase off him. Yeah, you could always do that. I would not. Think right now that Miz
as champion sounds like a horrible idea.
Mrs. Champion to me right now, based on of everything they've done, would be stupid because Orton won to build up. The idea that Orton won was to build up a match with Edge at WrestleMania. So to change that doesn't really make any sense. And
what else you can do actually?
For beating Drew for that after all the push of Drew doesn't really make any sense either.
Another thing you could do would be at Survivor Series, in the champion versus champion match, whoever it ends up being, Miz cashes in during that match because now he has two people that he can pin. Doesn't matter who he pins one of them because it's champion.
And since fail. It's on... There's no
here's the point. Since it's at Survivor Series, Otis runs down, screws him,
Yeah, you could do that.
Take the belt or take the briefcase off him there. And then, by the way, none of the champions have to be pinned because Roman Reigns can RKO and pin The Miz, and then Roman doesn't do a job. Or Roman spears Miz after Otis interferes, and Randy doesn't do a job. One of the champions pins Miz. You get the briefcase off the guy. Otis gets his revenge, and neither champion gets beaten.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, as far as that would be better if it was McIntyre. Because I think that those two guys are two guys that they would want to protect, and maybe with the idea of then saving that match for WrestleMania. That actually makes some sense. I don't think they have WrestleMania planned right now, but I could sort of see that. Yeah. I mean, it's not a great thing, but it's something, and I suppose if you execute it well, it could be all right. I don't think that that's what they're doing, but we could do that. I could see that. I mean, it's a viable possibility. The bottom line is that they do at this point, whether it's at Survivor Series or whether it's at WrestleMania, they do have to at some point, give you Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre in a big match. So, and again, it may just be straightforward that Drew McIntyre is going to win the title back, and then he's going to face Roman Reigns, and then they got to figure out a way out of it. Maybe Miz is the way out of it. Yeah.
All right. So how do you, or how'd the show do in the overnights?
It was down a little bit from last week, but not appreciably down. So, I mean, I'll know more on Tuesday, when we get everything. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't gonna do the number that last week's show did, most likely, because last week's show had the Bayley Becky Lynch match that was the biggest quarter and half hour that they've done all since the pandemic. But it was still a good number. Still a 0.6 most likely. So it was solid. They had Drew and Jey Uso was a good match. The Ray match was a good match. What else did we have? But Chad Gable's with Otis now. At least it's something for him to do. What else? The Sami Zayn. Yeah, Apollo Crews showed up. What a weird finish that was. He just ties his leg up and wins by count. I thought that Sami Zayn Apollo Crews finish was really terrible. 2-minute championship match where he ties his leg up in the apron, and it's like
it was like a Yano match, but not funny.
Nor at least with Yano, you tie the leg tight, and there's actually believability to this. This one, they didn't tie him. He just kind of put his leg in there where there's ropes. And the guy has to sit there and get counted out, and then he takes his leg right out. I mean, it's like if he had used duct tape and tied him to, steel something, and he got counted out, that would be like a Yano match. And it would be stupid, but this was stupider. And it was just like a 2-minute, I don't know what it was, but and yeah, that was most of the show, the three-way with Liv going over. So that was pretty much it.
What else did you get out of SmackDown this week?
Oh, the Daniel Bryan Jey Uso match, which Daniel Bryan won, was really good. Seth Rollins. So Seth Rollins and Murphy, I thought the match was really good, but there were points in the match where I was just
why are they pushing Seth so hard if he's about to be gone for a month? Why are they making the Mysterio family?
Well, why are they making Seth look like the babyface against all these people when he's the heel? Why? It's like there was needless stuff that happened in that match that made no sense. I mean, it's like having all those Mysterios out there. I get an aspect of it. It's like you want Aaliyah there because that's the whole heat and everything, and you don't want her out there without Ray and Dominic, and it's fine. But Seth shouldn't have beaten them all up for no reason. It's like what value is it? How does that help Ray just to be punked like that? And Dominic, who they've been punking like crazy anyway. It's like the one thing that they need, is.
They need young new stars.
Yeah, I mean, and I've just watched the thing where Seth like punked Ray and Dominic, and it was just, I mean, it made no sense. I'm watching it, and now with hindsight, and even watching it, it's like it made no sense. It's like you're doing it to do it, to go to a commercial break, but it almost makes Seth the babyface because it's like everyone's against him, and that's obviously not the idea. And especially with Dominic, it's like they're doing a piss poor job with him. I mean, it's like if you want to push him, then push him, and if you don't want to push him, send him somewhere to get experience. Don't like make him look bad on national television for especially when like they need new stars, and Aaliyah in their mind is probably the new star, but it's like that's not a long-term answer. I don't think. I can't imagine. I mean, but who knows? Who knows what's going on there? But I mean, as far as the match went, Murphy did a really good job. They put Murphy over because Seth's leaving, but it was like, the one thing that they do is they've got their people, and Rollins is obviously one of them, that in their minds that they're their top guys, even when they lose. Seth lost last week and he lost this week, and he's leaving, so it makes sense that he lost these 2 weeks. But they still, in their mind, we have to protect him, and I get that, but they go overboard on it to the point that it's like if he did none of those things, he's hurt. They didn't hurt him anymore, than they did. He didn't need that, but they do make, other, they kind of, like I said, I'm watching it going like, he's almost like a babyface. You almost feel sorry for him. Everyone's against him. There's 4 people, and they also had that spot where Aaliyah tripped. And so she's, like the scary movie spot, right, where the woman's running away and she trips, and it's a pretty bad looking trip, but, it's the best they're going to do. And they go to a commercial, and they come back, and it's like they're just wrestling again. There's no acknowledgement of it.
This is their commercial thing they've been doing on all of these shows. They had one on Raw as well, where this big thing happens outside, and they go to commercial, so you're waiting to see what happens, and then they come back, and it's the boy who cried wolf. Nothing happened.
It's not even acknowledged. Yeah. I mean, I thought that the whole Roman Reigns Drew McIntyre thing was great.
What I loved most about that is it's something that I talked about months ago, whereas you've got a pandemic and things have changed, and so if things have changed, what can you do with this change that you can't do when there are people there? And like what AEW did was that wacky thing with Matt Hardy where he teleported. You obviously can't do that with fans. WWE did the deal where a guy would dive off the post and clearly land on a crash pad, but then you edit it and he's on the cement because there's no fans there. So what they did here was they're in the Thunderdome. There's no fans in the building, and so there were no mics. And so Roman's just sitting there, and he won't sit across from Drew. He's got to sit at the head of the table. So he sits right next to the guy, and they just had like a conversation. And it wasn't a conversation with mics where they're doing promos. I mean, they were doing promos, but it was a very non-traditional thing because there's no fans there. You don't need to do this over the house mic. So it was a little more realistic, easier to believe. Roman basically tells him, you're the number 2 challenger. You've got the belt that like they do stuff with when I'm not around. Just totally buried the guy, basically. So Sunday, I mean, Drew either's got to win or he's got to be beating this guy's ass before they do the goofy finish. Because he took him down a peg here.
He will. They'll protect, believe me, they'll protect Drew. I mean, Drew's on their list of guys to protect. They're protecting both of them somehow because those are the 2 big stars right now are Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. And they came off as that. I mean, when that segment was over, I give them credit. When that segment was over, like I said, I was intrigued by the match because it was a very non-WWE, in fact, non-pro wrestling contract signing. We've seen so many contract signings and things like that it's like even, I mean, they become a cliche. They're so overdone. I mean, what AEW did the other night as far as the contract signing, that was different. But they need, like AEW needs something big next week. And if they have it, that's fine. And these guys, they needed something to sell that match, and they got it, and it was very well done. So, that was good.
What I also liked about the main event was Daniel Bryan has been in this mode of, I just want to put people over. I want to get people over. And we've been talking about how, listen, he's got to win, so it means something when you put somebody over. So clearly they wanted him to win this match here over Jey Uso, even though Jey Uso also lost last week. He didn't beat him with the knee. He got his knees up when Jey Uso was going for his finish, and he did the quick cradle, boom, pinned him, and he got out of there. So he beat the guy. He got his win. But he did it in such a way where this was not a decisive win over Jey Uso. He pinned the guy, but it was more like that quick cradle off the guy going for his finish.
I mean,
as opposed to laying him out and knocking him out with your move and pinning him clean in the middle.
It's fine for this week. However, if he's going against Roman Reigns, he's going to need, it doesn't have to be Jey Uso, but he's going to need one or two of those where he does win with his move and does look strong. But this was fine. I thought it was a really strong
but we got
match.
weeks left before that pay. If they do it TLC, which I think is the December pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I mean, we got weeks before that one.
Is that the 20th or the 13th?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay. 13th isn't that far away.
TLC is, if I can find it here, I don't know when it is. Nothing is listed here.
How's it not listed? It's only a couple weeks away.
I don't know.
Either way, it's I for whatever reason, I haven't been thinking that far ahead. I think it's the 13th.
Sunday, December 20th.
20th? Okay, so they got an extra week. Okay, That's cool.
There you go.
All right. So they've got some weeks. But yeah, I mean, just as a match though, Daniel Bryan's such a great worker, and he showed it. You know, it's like, you know, and Rollins is too, and Murphy is too. So I mean, you really got two really strong matches. But I mean, the whole thing as far as the flow of the show. I mean, for a 2-hour show. I'm not saying I liked everything, but it flowed really good. Nothing went too long. I was never bored. The 8-man tag was fine. You know, I mean, it was
fine, but the segment setting it up, I mean, it was just comedy. Then New Day says, we'll defend our titles here tonight. And more guys come out, and then next thing you know, it's just a random 8-man tag.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because it was like Corbin and Sami Zayn have nothing to do with that story, and they pretty much like went in there with the idea of New Day against Rude and Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and they set that up and they kind of said, okay, you want to see that? And it's like, yeah, for TV, that's cool. And then they give you like these, like again, Sami Zayn and Corbin, who had nothing to do with nothing, and were just there to make sure that whatever, I guess. Just because they wanted Sami Zayn to lose the fall, which is weird, right? Because whatever, I mean, isn't...
Dude, as soon as they did that, I thought there's no way they could put this guy over Bobby Lashley.
Well, they weren't going to
Even
anyway.
Though he's a significantly better worker. Like, if you look at the way one guy's been pushed and the way the other guy's been pushed...
Oh, I mean, but look, Bobby Lashley is one of the most protected guys there, and Sami Zayn is a guy who they use as the pesky little... guy who's a good talker who annoys everyone. But here's the thing too, it's like they beat Sami Zayn, he's going to lose to Lashley, then he's probably going to lose to Daniel Bryan, and it's like, so by the time Daniel Bryan beats him, and he'll probably will beat him clean, it's like he's already, you know what I mean, he's already been beaten twice. It's not anything.
What do we have an Intercontinental title on this guy for if he's just going to be losing all these matches, including to Daniel Bryan?
Well, you know how that goes. They're in their minds when they put a title on a guy, it's like licensed to beat him every week. If it's the heel or it's a babyface who they don't really want to push. I mean, it's not always a license, but they sometimes see it as a license, depending on the slotting of the guy. And Sami Zayn's one of the guys where if we put the belt on him, it's licensed to beat him all the time once he's got the belt because he's got a belt. Whatever. I mean, it's like the Intercontinental belt. It doesn't mean anything anyway, so it's like whatever. It's when they do it with a world belt. I mean, and that's been done. And that's been done too. Then it's kind of stupid. With the Intercontinental, it's like it is stupid too. But it's kind of like there's certain levels of whatever it is, like bastardizing belts. It's like. When no belts mean anything and there's a million belts running around anyway, I'm really only concerned about like the main belt because they don't even protect that well most of the time. Although now, with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, those guys have been protected. So they are doing a good job with the money belt. So that's as good as we're going to get from WWE is that. These other belts are just, they're going to protect Bobby Lashley, but I don't think it's because of the belt. It's just because, Bobby Lashley's got a great look and they're protecting him which is weird because, again, they're protecting him, but I got no idea what for. Maybe they're going to go back to him and Drew, and that's fine if they do because they protected him for so long. They might as well do something like that with him. But whatever. He's just kind of like the bully of the Hurt Business and everything like that.
This, by the way, was the other match where they did one of these commercial deals. They're doing this match, and Kofi goes for a high cross. He accidentally wipes out Montez Ford. And Dawkins just jumps up and he's furious and he's going to get in a fight with his own partner. And all of a sudden they fade to black.
And then we come back
from commercial and nothing.
Nothing.
Zero follow-up. And there was never even any follow-up after the match as well. So I guess that was the big...
didn't they hold the belts up and stuff with each other?
They held the belts up. But it wasn't like we had a legitimate fight about to break out before commercial. And then we came back and it was gone and that was the end of it.
And they never explained it, as has been the case a lot, yeah. And then, Bailey, not Bailey, but Natalia and Tamina, it was like a minute. So it was fine. It was just, they had to do the storyline where Natalia had to beat somebody, so she beat her, and that was that. And Carmella attacked Banks. So Carmella attacks Banks, and Asuka's standing there and never helps. And you know what I mean? That was interesting.
I guess they just figured they had to do something to build up something between the two. I guess she could have helped, but...
They never really called attention to it, though.
No, they definitely did. That was the thing about it. There's no subtlety. It's like they kept... Carmella's beating up Sasha, and they keep doing close-ups of Asuka standing there.
No, I know that they. I know they showed it. I know they showed it, but it was like the announcers didn't get all furious. Why isn't she helping and all that? That's like the way you sell that specific angle. And
one of the announcers' girlfriend was doing the beating, so he was perfectly fine with her not getting beaten up.
Well, the job of the announcers is to be, to sell the fact that there's a match going Sunday, which is Asuka and Sasha, and say that Asuka's not helping because she's perfectly fine with Sasha being beaten down, and essentially making Asuka into the heel in this match, which is fine, because that's theoretically from the angle, that's the role you're supposed to take. So, but I didn't think, yes, did they show it? Yes. Did the announcer sell it? No. I didn't feel that at all. They didn't. So, but again, very good show. Very good show. Good. It appears that they had a good rating. I always hate to talk about Smackdown ratings before Tuesday because there's so much that can still come out, but it appears that
Do you think it's Smackdown this week?
Well, it wasn't as good as the week before. That's for sure. It's
perhaps you can explain to me what in God's name is going on with the Mysterio family.
Oh dear God, I cannot. That was beyond annoying. That was like watching this.
Let me read this to everybody in case you didn't see the match, because this literally it's exactly what happened. It's Baron Corbin versus Buddy Murphy. This is legitimately, I'm not making up this play-by-play. Ray tries to distract Baron.
No, Dominic was first.
Dominic tries to distract him. Ray tries to distract him. Aaliyah tries to distract him. Corbin gets the heat.
Aaliyah didn't really try to distract him.
No, he tried to. Baron Corbin goes to slide out of the ring and run around the post to get back in, and she literally stopped him. She got in front of him to prevent him.
She was in front of him. So, but it wasn't like Ray and Dominic who were the entire match.
She interfered.
She didn't interfere. She was standing in the wrong place. But Ray and Dominic were jumping on the apron, distracting him the whole match over and over again. It's not like they did it once. That was the story of the entire match. And think about this. Okay. And it's a 4-minute match. So it's not like it's like a 15-minute match and they each do it once. It's a 4-minute match and they both do it over and over and over again.
Well, I counted it. 9 times somebody attempted to interfere or distract Baron Corbin in this match.
In a 4-minute match.
9 times.
It was, I mean, it was mind-boggling watching it. I mean, it's like how Baron Corbin's practically the babyface here. Buddy Murphy is in no way, shape, or form working as a babyface, even though he's supposed to be the babyface. I mean, Dominic. I mean, even Ray. Every one of them. The only one who didn't come off like a heel was Aaliyah, and she was sort of. And you could make the case she did too.
She prevented him from doing one of his main moves.
Yeah, but it wasn't as bad as with Ray and Dominic. Plus, it's like, but the whole thing it was ridiculous.
And what was most ridiculous about it is, let's say that this was the Seth Rollins match, where Seth Rollins tried to take out Rey Mysterio's eye, and he screwed with the family, and he tried to say that Dominic was adopted, all that. Okay, fine, the whole family screws the guy. Dude, Baron Corbin didn't do anything. He walked up to him during an interview, and he talked a little bit of trash.
He did try to make fun of him during the interview.
Yeah, but like 9 times, it wasn't even like something was going wrong with Murphy, where they were just jumping up there to distract the guy.
Well, it's every time Baron Corbin got offense, that's when they jumped up. When Murphy never got any offense unless the guy was distracted first. That's what made it so bad. And then Murphy wins, and then Baron Corbin challenges him to a rematch, and wants. Basically, he didn't even say don't bring them. I think like next week he's going to bring like, Dolph Ziggler and Rude or whoever else. He
goes, you guys are spineless cowards. I want a rematch, and next week I'm going to be prepared. And I thought, you're supposed to be a heel? I'm on your side, dude.
Well, I could never be on Corbin's side, but that's a different story. But it was, what can I say? It was the worst. It was the worst. I don't know how it happens. I don't know. I mean, I could not explain it at all. I mean, it was so overt. But I mean, the whole thing, it's like, even when like, Smackdown has been a good show, but it's like, it's still one of those things where, I mean, they just do everything at the last minute. They have it's like no idea where they're going. They'll bring somebody up, then they'll push somebody, and then they'll just forget about it. And
Lars has vanished off the face.
Lars is off the face of the earth. Lars is off the face of the earth. Yeah, Vince is just, maybe if somebody reminded Vince that he was there and they pushed him, maybe Vince would write him in. Vince, they rewrote the show again, but they do that every week. I mean, it's funny because somebody had mentioned to me Friday morning. Vince isn't here. Vince is coming at 12:30. And no one knows what to do until Vince gets there, right? Okay. So I asked somebody and go, like, is this true? And it's like, well, it's true, but that's it's a complete state of disarray. And it's like, well, it's true, but every Friday is like this. This is no different from any other Friday. I mean, yes, of course it's a state of disarray, but it's always a state of disarray. It's just, that's what Friday is. I mean, he just shows up when he shows up, and they change everything. And so the deal with the title situation now, it's going to be Kevin Owens, which you could tell from watching the show that's
totally fine. This stuff with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, that was the highlight of the show by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Well, the Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn match was.
Oh yeah, that
was a great match. The finish was wacky, but
what a terrible finish.
Yes.
I mean, so anyway, and just think about. They did that finish, and Daniel Bryan's the guy who's who's at least for right now is like this means anything. For right now, he's scheduled to face Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble. But I mean, God knows.
I'm sure in Vince's mind, it's like, fuck, the Royal Rumble's in the middle of January. Like, doesn't matter what we do with this guy in November. Like, we'll get through TLC, and then we'll build the guy up.
In theory, it should, but whatever. I mean, they don't. I don't. I mean, by the time they get there, I could easily. I mean, the one thing is that like when it comes to Daniel Bryan, a lot of what happens with him is his own doing because he's on creative and everything, and he's, I'm sure, like very much thinking how he wants it done. So. But I mean, I and again, this had happened before too. I mean, there were periods where a couple of years ago when they were going to do the big Roman Reigns Daniel Bryan program that they never got to. I mean, it just never ended up that way. They They brought in, was it Eric Rowan for the program, and then they just never even got to Daniel Bryan. So, this could happen again. But did you see the Talking Smack thing with Paul Heyman and Kevin Owens?
No.
It was really good. Really, really good. So, I mean, it was just, it basically...
Well, I hope they put it on television then.
I'm sure they won't.
Not the same thing, but I mean, there better be plenty of byplay with Roman and Kevin Owens and Paul Heyman leading into TLC because, like, Kevin Owens is a great talker. This Roman Reigns character is fantastic. Paul's great. I mean, this is going to be probably the best thing on SmackDown until TLC.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there going to be? Seth Rollins is gone. The Mysterio family's completely out of whack. Those were the people who were in, and Sasha Banks and Carmella. I mean, that's a big step down from what they were doing. So yeah, I mean, Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens are going to be the whole show, pretty much. So yeah, that's the situation. So real quick on Braun Strowman. So get into this. So Braun Strowman does have a knee injury because he's been being treated for it. I don't know the severity of it. The impression I have is that he's not going to be at TLC. I mean, kind of been, so I think that the three-way is going to be for the spot, but I don't know that 100%. I don't know anyone knows anything, I mean, from what someone told me, the writing team still thinks it's Strowman. I mean, that could be wrong, but after Monday, I had heard that part, that the writing team still thought it was Strowman, but whatever. It's probably not. So that's the story with Strowman, but definitely there definitely was a knee injury involved there. So that's the story.
Well, the other SmackDown notes here, we had Rude and Ziggler beating Street Profits, so they're obviously going to be getting a tag team title match.
Yeah, non-title match with just like a quick finish where one went after the other, and was it Bobby Roode, Schoolboy? Was it Montez, right?
It was Montez, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, just basic stuff. And then they did another non-title match with Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. And, I mean, the wrestling was real good. And then they did a deal. So Sami runs to the back, and Daniel Bryan runs after him. And then I guess when Daniel Bryan gets to the back, was it Roman Reigns and Jey Uso beat up Daniel Bryan?
It was only Jey Uso.
Okay, Jey Uso beats Daniel Bryan.
Probably Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan at TLC. Yeah. And then there was a promo later with Sami Zayn and Big E. So it looks like probably Big E versus Sami Zayn at TLC.
Yeah.
And presumably Big E wins that title for the time being. I guess you could keep it on Sami Zayn, but... Yeah, and then that was that. Carmella and...
Sasha Banks.
Sasha's program. And also Bayley and... Bianca appeared to be a program.
Looks like Bayley and Bianca, yeah. Which should be good.
They do Natalia.
Bianca was pretty decent too on the Talking Smack. I mean, Heyman put her over so. It's so funny because it's like Heyman is like a heel, but he's talking to Bianca, and he just puts her over so huge, and then puts the Street Profits over so huge, which is a shoot because Heyman's the one who, brought the Street Profits up from NXT and tried to protect them and tried to keep them out of the ring as long as possible because he figured, if they're put in the ring, the first thing that the writer's going to want to do is beat them. And, and he's always, when he does media interviews, always puts them over huge. And so he's on this show where he's a heel, and he's just putting over this, it's like, what I think of your husband, and what I think of the Street Profits. And she's all, yeah, we all know. And you're special, and it's just so funny to watch because it's like, it's 100% shoot, but it's like he's a heel, and she's a baby face, and he's not playing heel with her. But then Owens comes in, and then it's like, yeah, he put over Owens too, actually, in a lot of ways. But he's still playing heel,
Yeah, but at the same time, in storyline, he's not supposed to be an idiot. Like, he's an advocate, and these are very talented people. And Street Profits, tag team champions. I mean, obviously he's going to have a problem with Kevin Owens because he's feuding with Roman Reigns.
Well, he put over Kevin Owens to a degree, and Owens was,
got to build up that challenger.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, especially now because nobody else does. I mean, he didn't even. Well, I mean, they did do a cool thing at the end with Kevin Owens and Jey Uso. Even though he didn't win the match clean, he did like destroy him with chair shots at the end. So he did look strong at the end. So that was pretty well. I mean, they needed to do something real strong, and they did. So that was good. I don't know. Rating down, but I wouldn't even worry about that. It's
Smackdown on the day after Thanksgiving, under 2 million viewers, but that's the overnights. We'll see what happens. That's the overnights.
It'd probably end up a little over 2 million, but whatever. I mean, it's. I mean, there were shows that it got beat by some of those whatever. The Frosty the Snowman stuff that they do every Christmas, I think, or did pretty close to it. Well, I mean, in the demo, I mean, it beat it. Everything beats it for total viewers. I mean, SmackDown's usually the lowest viewed show on Friday night, but often the highest in the demo. I think that one of the networks beat it, and CBS is the one that. I mean, anyway. It'll all come out on Tuesday. I'll worry about it on Tuesday. But the preliminary numbers were down, but I wouldn't worry about it at all because, again, it's the Friday of Thanksgiving week, and there's a lot of Christmas shows on, and they didn't advertise anything because they didn't know anything to advertise. They literally advertised nothing.
The Smackdown show.
Because they didn't know what was going to be on the show until... what did I think of Smackdown? I mean, it was a show. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't find it as good as a lot of the recent weeks. Roman Reigns is very good as always, but it felt that it's almost like on this show that it was all about Roman Reigns to the detriment of everyone else. I didn't think that really Kevin Owens, who needed to be put over, really got over. It was all about getting Roman Reigns over, and he's already over. The Roman Reigns Jey Uso thing is a unique dynamic, but when it was all said and done, you were thinking about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and not Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens is the guy going for the title in the TLC match. And as far as TLC goes, I mean, the one thing, and again, I mean, one of the problems, I guess, that we have, that, it's a good and a bad. One of the things that we've learned when it comes to television, very much in the last month or two, even longer really, is that what gets people on Wednesdays, one of the is the unique setting in the sense of a ladder match will work, a street fight will work, a bunkhouse match will work, blood will work, all of these things, and that's good to know. But when you're in a ratings war, what ends up happening is that when you know that, you rely on it and you do it over and over and over again. Anything in wrestling that you do over and over and over again will stop working because it's being done too much. And we just have had 2 straight ladder matches, and now we're having a pay-per-view with at least 1 and probably 2 ladder matches on the pay-per-view. We'll have a TLC, which we already know, which is the Roman Reigns Kevin Owens match. And then we're probably going to have another ladder match on the show. That's not for sure. And, that's the problem with the ladder matches, especially the way they're worked in WWE and would be in AEW as well, is that they're very physically taxing. And the guys are taking big bumps on ladders and ladder bridges and things like that. And it takes, Edge is the one who said it, that ladder matches take time off of your career, and they should only be done sparingly and only on major pay-per-views. It should never be on television. And now what we've got this very competitive situation, and we're having ladder matches every week on television, and they do work. They do work. I mean, eventually they won't, but they still are.
They work for now.
Yeah, but they're not going to work 52 weeks a year. I'm sure they won't do. I'm sure after this pay-per-view, they probably will do a moratorium on them. But I don't know that. I mean, I would, like my gut would say, well, now do a moratorium on them for a year. But I don't know that they have the patience to do that. And you're in a war, and when you're in a war, you go to what's going to work until it doesn't work. And
somebody pointed out that if you look at every single ladder match there's ever been in the history of WWE, 10% of them have been in 2020. So I'm not sure we're going to see a
it'll
moratorium on them in the next year.
It'll end up more than that. It'll end up more than that by the end of the year. So, yeah. Well, then it'll go the way of the cage match, and it'll go the way of the battle royal. You know, something that worked that won't work anymore, because no matter what you do, if you do it too much, any gimmick that's done too much will cease to work. I mean, that's the reality of wrestling. On Wednesday, I mean, it did work to a degree that it brought some viewers back, but they got killed. That ladder match still got killed, and it was Shotzi Blackheart and Raquel Gonzalez. So it wasn't even like stars, and it's people who were put in. Yeah, I mean, their quarter did what, maybe. Well, I think they got up to about 235,000 in 18 of 49s, and they probably so they might have gotten 25,000, maybe even 35,000 extra viewers off of that than they would have without, if it was just a regular match. It still got beat handily, but it was anything they put was going to get beat handily in that quarter. Is it really worth it for that to do, to burn it out with that match? It's like, if you're going to burn it out, at least burn it out in a segment you're going to win with big stars. I mean, when I heard that they were making that thing a ladder match, it's like it's Shotzi Blackheart and Raquel Gonzalez who, the ladder match made it more exciting only in the sense of it's no DQ, so everybody could run in, and when everybody ran in, it kind of got exciting. But I mean, the match itself, the ladder, for the two competitors, you could have just done a no DQ match without all that, because the match itself before the run-ins wasn't even a good match. So, I think that is one of those things where you look at it and go, for 25,000 or 30,000 viewers?
Well, I think honestly part of it is the men did a ladder match for the advantage, and so the women had to do a ladder match for the advantage.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to, but that's what they do. We got a men's Royal Rumble and a women's Royal Rumble.
So you got cookie cutter booking without,
Yes, that's what they do. You don't have to, but that is what they do.
Oh, I know. Just like Survivor Series, it's like we'll put a whole bunch of matches together because this is the matches that we do with no thought process. And do we really need to do these matches? Especially like Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, which, whatever. It's like, is it going to be the WrestleMania match? And if it is, then why'd you do it here? I don't know. It's just. Them and New Japan are getting very, very patterned in their booking, in the sense of, this is what we do now. And, rather than, have things take natural courses and build up feuds and storylines and everything. Just like, it's this month, it's December, we do War Games. And before War Games, we do 2 straight weeks of ladder matches. And it's November, and we do the Champions versus Champions match and Survivor Series. And it's kind of like, it's easy booking in the sense that you don't have to think about it. It's whatever, October, we do Hell in a Cell, whether we got anything going or not, we just do it. It's like, it's like I said, it's easy. It doesn't take a lot of thought. You just fill in the blanks and put names in the slots. But to me, it's not creative, and it's not particularly exciting.
So also on the show, we had the return of 2 of the Forgotten Sons, who were so forgotten that it took a while for the announcers to figure out who in the hell they were. Gunner, whatever his name was, Jackson Riker. He wasn't there. He is not there, so he's either going to get the 3-week push into oblivion or he's gone.
Who? He's not. No. There's a reason he wasn't there, and the reason he wasn't there is the reason that they haven't been around for a long time is because those poor guys got all the heat from him because he's a complete idiot. And
he did a bad tweet, and that was the end of them. And if they're not going to use the guy, why is he employed? What's going on?
I don't know. They haven't gotten around to cutting him. Next round of cuts. I would suspect next round of cuts he'll be cut. but they just didn't get around to it. The last time they did, I'm sure he's not making much money, so it's kind of like, what do you save? So, and they're not into. I mean, he probably still. I would suspect he'll still get cut, but it's like you're not saving big money, and they're really not looking to send people when there's other companies there. Although I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea what other companies would think of as far as him at this stage of the game. You just never know. I mean, I can't. I would be adamant in AEW. I don't think he serves a purpose there, even though he's got a good look. Impact. I don't really think that he's going to add anything in Impact either. But they may like him because he's got a good look. I mean, who knows? I mean, they're just So he may get a job there, and if he does well, sometimes it looks bad on you when you cut a guy and then he goes somewhere and does well, but. I still suspect he'll get. I suspect that if they do another round of cuts, that he would be on that list.
We also had a totally baffling Bailey versus Natty match.
Well, just a weird finish, just sharpshooter in the
Natty
middle.
just put her in the sharpshooter and submitted her. I mean, it was like a maybe 3-minute match at most. Nothing happening. Bianca's out there doing commentary.
But she didn't even distract her.
She didn't distract her or anything. Bailey just gets put in the hold. She taps out. Bianca makes fun of her. I'm thinking, I'm supposed to care about this match? How is this building this up?
Yeah. I know, one of the things, also, I know that it's 50-50 and Corbin was going to beat Murphy, but God, did they... I don't know. I just felt like whatever
he got his well-deserved sweet revenge on these heel Mysterios. That's what happened.
Yeah, with the other two guys,
Blake and Cutler.
Blake and Cutler, out there and everything. But it's like they give Murphy a win over Corbin, they give Murphy a win over Rollins, and then they beat him with the end of days in the middle. And it's kind of like, well, it's Exhibit A why nobody gets over. It's like you give a guy a little bit of momentum and then you beat him for in a situation because the only reason, again, is it's like, well, it's his turn to lose. I mean, you never make anyone that way. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that was just, it didn't really serve any purpose at all. And the Mysterios were just out there looking like geeks. You know what I mean? It was, and they didn't, the whole Murphy Aaliyah thing, they did nothing with that at all. It was almost like, unless you've got to, that thing is obviously helped them a lot. And if you've got nothing and no advancement and you're just going to throw them out there, I mean, put somebody else on TV in that spot rather than just throw them out there to make them look like nobodies. I didn't like that at all. That, the 6-man tag was really good. That was a fun match.
Ray and Daniel and Big E versus Nakamura, Cesaro, and Ziggler. Pat Patterson tribute match.
Yeah, they worked their ass off.
That was a very, very fun match. And they actually did... The post-match was what you would see like at a house show, where Ziggler's in the ring, and they're all going to do the big handshake, and he goes to high-five him, but then they all triple-team him and hit a move on him. It was exactly like something you'd see at the end of a house show. But we saw it on TV, and Ziggler's out there just taking these giant bumps for his Pat Patterson tribute. I liked it.
I thought everybody worked good. Daniel Bryan was great. But yeah, they all. Sami Zayn was good. Just the idea was it's the current Intercontinental Champion and 5 other Intercontinental Champions just doing a worker match. All the big spots, bing, 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 bing. Which is funny, because it's what they don't. I don't know. It's just funny. It's like they want to do a great match, so they do exactly what they don't teach. And like don't do this. So then they did it. They did the AEW match. It was fun. It was great, actually. All the stuff with Patterson to me was tremendous. I think that they've done.
They had his original Intercontinental title out there on display.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah. Just a lot of cool photos and everything like that. They did the same video that they did on. Well, I think it was. Did they add more stuff to the video?
I felt like it was the exact same video from NXT.
Yeah, I think it was the same video, but there were new photos though. And then they had more. They had like a bunch of bumpers and different things, and brought in Slaughter and Jerry Briscoe, and Vince McMahon out there for the thing at the start of the show. They really, look, he helped build the company. I mean, he was a very, very important guy. Levesque was, talking about him on Thursday, and, basically, it was very interesting what he was talking about. He basically said that he learned the business from Vince, but he learned the, in-ring and the wrestling from Patterson. And he said, what I didn't learn from Patterson, like I learned from Michaels and Nash and Sean Waltman, goes, but that's what they learned from Patterson. And, evidently, Jericho said 90% of what he knows in the business is from Patterson, which is really saying a lot.
I wish Hunter would have learned booking from Patterson then.
Well, they do. They have done basic booking, but now, it's different. It's a different
era. Don't do
it
now.
No, it's a different era now than before. When they did the 1 hour TV to build to the pay-per-view, to the takeovers, that was basic booking. But now, now it's that fill in the blank booking, and it's and they're also trying to win quarters. It's a completely different. It changes the game, and then it just changed the game. You're not doing, you're trying to hotshot and win quarters, and it's.
Yeah, but what's annoying is they're rarely, if ever, winning quarters, and the show is much worse than it used to be. That's like a double whammy.
Well, also what happened was that before they were constantly bringing in new great talent. Every couple of months you'd bring in new great talent. And what happened was the combination of the pandemic killing the indies and everybody scouring all the great talent, and WWE bringing in so much talent, and AEW bringing so much talent, and WWE wasting so much great talent, that now, it's just, it's not there. And I think that what happened with NXT to a degree is that so many of the NXT guys got brought to the main roster and got squandered. And so now it's kind of like you don't have, it's like, oh, why would we pay attention to these new guys coming in, knowing that either they're going to stay in NXT forever, and, it's fine and good to be Gargano and Ciampa, and you turn 15 times back and forth, but you have really good matches, and just, do that. Or you go to Raw and SmackDown, and in most cases, after 3 weeks, you're a nobody. So it's kind of like you're not watching guys really progress. Whereas before, I think the mentality is that we're getting on the ground floor and we're watching people progress. And in fact, for a while, that's what happened. We're watching the stars of the future, and I think that people have been beaten down with, we're really not. Once TV started and the guys weren't moving up very much, I don't know. It's definitely changed, or maybe it's just that there's competition and they weren't as suited for the competition as they thought and we thought and everybody thought.
Well, there was much better booking when the show was 1 hour. Much better built to the pay-per-views.
It's always easier to book a 1 hour show than a 2 hour
show. But there's so much stuff now where I don't know what's going on. I'm just flabbergasted. Like the Jake Atlas stuff, Jake Atlas got 2 championship matches. He loses both, and then he beats Tony Nese, and they tell us Tony Nese is the biggest win of his career. And I'm like, what? And I went back, and in fact, it is. Which means, how did he even get 2 championship matches? Well, he was in tag matches, and somebody else beat somebody else, but he got a title match out of it. Like, what is going on here? This is one example.
Well, they needed a match at a certain time. They threw him in there.
Well, maybe he should have beaten the champion or beaten somebody to get a championship match. I mean, this is not hard, but it didn't happen.
It's not. They're not worried about that anymore. And yeah, I mean that's the thing. And just with like Jake Atlas, he starts with a guy who loses in 2 minutes, to everybody, and then they sort of push him, but they really don't. It's like, and granted, that happens on every show. That's one of the things I would say across the board in wrestling is the inability to follow through on pushes to people and give people straight, consistent pushes. I think that's a weakness of the entire business right now. And, that makes it very, some guys will get over no matter what. But those are few and far between, most of the time, if you're booked like shit, most of the time you're going to get over like shit. There will always be exceptions, and but if you're looking for majority success rate, what they're doing now is not majority success rate at all.
All right, we're going to talk just very briefly about Smackdown because we have to make sure we get into a couple of other news notes here, but there's not much to see on the show. I mean, if you love the Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens thing, they're great because great promos, and they're obviously setting up the main event at TLC. Roman completely destroyed Kevin Owens in an angle, but other than that, just one...
Didn't Sasha Banks wrestle Carmella?
Yes, one shitty finish after another on this show.
Bruce Pritchard?
They literally did a contract signing for Sasha and Carmella at TLC, and the moment the contract signing ended, Sasha challenged her to a title match tonight, and Carmella accepted. So... Yeah. They do this match, and, well, getting into all the other horrible finishes first. We had Ziggler and Montez Ford, which, like, in the middle of the match, the Street Profits get in the ring, they start dancing, Solo Cups shoot into the ring, and they play their music. We went to commercial, and they came back, and the match kept going. So, Ziggler super kicked him for the pin, so I guess there's a tag title match next week. Sammy...
on TV and not on pay-per-view?
I believe it's TV next week.
Okay.
Sammy, Big E, non-title. Sammy runs under the ring. Big E chases him under the ring. Sammy gets out the other side and gets in the ring and wins via countout.
Oh, what a terrible finish.
Oh, my God. We had the Natty and Billy Kay versus the Riot Squad, where Billy and Natty can't get along, and the Riot Squad pins Billy. Like, they broke up Billy Kay and Peyton just to put them with other partners that they're going to do absolutely nothing with? Well, what was the point? Except to be assholes and break up two friends who've been friends since high school.
That's what they do. Why'd they break up Rusev and Lana?
Chad and Otis are together. Of course, Chad is training Otis.
Oh, so they're back together. They're back together because I thought they forgot that one.
No, Chad is actually training Otis. They face Cesaro and Nakamura. Otis is running wild. Chad says, tag me. So Otis tags him in, and then he goes for some move, and he gets caught, and Nakamura Kinshasas him and pins him. So they go backstage, and Otis is upset, and Gable's laughing, and he says, it's a lesson. I told you to tag in, but I didn't really want you to. Sometimes when someone tells you to do something, they mean the opposite. Yeah, I'll explain more later, he says.
Okay.
It's a great storyline. And then Sasha and Carmella, they have a match, and Carmella's beating on her, and so Carmella's got this guy, I forget his name, they don't even say his name on the show, but he's basically...
It's the guy from Circus du Soleil?
I have no idea. He's her courier. So. He brings her wine or whatever, champagne.
Oh, okay.
So this guy gets beaten up in the opening segment. Sasha beats his ass, and she, puts him with a backcracker, and she kills him. But he, of course, comes out for the main event. And they do the match, and Sasha puts her in the bank statement. The courier pulls Sasha out of the ring. Sasha chases him around the ring. He runs away. Then Sasha just gets back in the ring and starts beating on Carmella in the corner, and they called for the bell. Excessive violence.
It's like a DQ for no reason?
Yes. They claimed she was out of control. And that's your show. Carmella beats her up afterwards. She breaks a champagne bottle over her back. She lays her out. I was not impressed with this show. Maybe I was the only one.
Did I ever tell you the story about the letter that I wrote to somebody who I cannot say who that works there a couple months ago? About
a very vague story. What did you write a letter about?
Well, it's to a friend of mine who I cannot say, but he's a really powerful person there. And I said that, like, everybody there has no idea that this is going to happen. But if you keep putting on shows like this, it won't be this week, and it won't be next month, and it may not even be next year, but there's a gap, and it's closing, okay? And all you got to do, because you're a numbers guy, you don't have to take my word for it, run the numbers, and you're going to see this gap closing. And I said, you know, and I know the difference between a cable rating and a network rating. And you know, and I know both, that if AEW was in your time slot, they would lose in total numbers and they would win in 18 to 49 today. That's today. A year from now, if you keep putting on shows like this, and they keep putting on shows like this, it's not going to get better. So I just want you to know this ahead of time. Okay? I felt I was like trying to, I'm not like rubbing it in or anything like that. I'm just trying to warn them because I want to see better wrestling. And every time, like when you're going through this and these finishes, all I keep thinking is like, there's very few people in WWE who really like understand television ratings. Okay? But there are a few. And, they'll look and just go, well, we got twice as many viewers. We got 2.1, 2.2 million viewers. They can't even break 1 million. And yeah, they're 0.32 in 18 to 49s. Although obviously they've been bigger than, the last couple of weeks. And we're 0.6. So it's like, we're so far ahead. But they're really like, that's like, if you look at like, whether it's baseball, whether it's basketball, whether it's whatever, and you put a show on Fox and you put a show on TBS or TNT or FS1, which, by the way, next Friday,
Smackdown's on FS1 next week, so that's going to be a really fun week on my timeline.
Oh, because they're going to... I would think that...
Wednesday night will beat Friday Night Smackdown.
It may not in total viewers. It probably will in 18 to 49. I mean, adding the Omega Janela match probably helps somewhat, but they're not advertising Sting on the show, and there's no Shaq, and Sting and Shaq were really a really big part of Wednesday's number. And even Sting, it's like, it is nostalgia, and Shaq too. First time's always going to be bigger than, second time and third time. And with Sting, it's the same thing. That's the big number that Sting's going to draw. I'm not saying that like he'll never draw again or anything like that, but I mean, if he's in a super great angle in some form, that's intriguing, maybe he'll even do better, and maybe they'll build the whole thing up. But the first one's like the gimme, and I don't even count it. So it's like the AEW rating from this Wednesday. I mean, it's really good that it beat the week before, because I didn't know if it would beat the week before, but I knew it would be big because it's Sting's first interview and nostalgia. When Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan hadn't been on TV for a couple months and they were put on Raw, their quarter to 3 million viewers, which is unheard of today. I mean, this would have been, it's like a year ago, because it was like October of last year. But they did a quarter that did 3 million viewers. And I mean, like now, like if you do 2 million viewers in a quarter on Raw, I don't know, there may have been a quarter that's done 2 million viewers the first quarter, before all the declines, but there's never been an hour that's done 2 million viewers in a long, long time. So 3 million a year ago, that's saying something. So that's the kind of the thing here. So it's like, yeah, you can go look and say that like, hour 3 of Raw, really, I mean, it was fucking neck and neck with AEW, but it's kind of a fluke. I mean, it is a normal hour 3 of Raw. That's not an unusually bad number. But the AEW number is unusually high, and it's probably not a level that they're going to be consistently at right now. If they do another number like that this week, anything close to that, like if they're over 0.4 this week, that's a really awesome sign for AEW. I mean, if they're at 0.35, that's cool, but 0.4, if they do 0.4 without Sting and without Shaq and just with like Kenny Omega and Joey Janela, or even like a 0.38 or something like that, that means that they've really increased their base in the last couple of weeks with their angles, and that would be an exceptional sign. So, but I don't really count like, okay, they're really close. It's ready to it's ready it's ready to turn. We're not. I don't think we're really there yet. I could be wrong. I don't think we're there yet, but the idea that like it's not inconceivable that we could be at some point. But on the Friday thing, this will be the fair test. As far as equal footing, they're both on cable this week, and we're going to see. It is possible that AEW beats them in viewers. I mean, AEW did 995,000 viewers while doing really, shitty over 50 numbers, which are still the bulk of TV viewers, because they did great 18 to 49. And I don't know that Smackdown this Friday is going to do 995,000 viewers. I don't know that it will do that. I think it will do less. So it is possible. But in 18 to 49, it could be, it could be a rout. I mean, like not even close. And that's the fair fight. And, I don't think a lot of people really have on the WWE side, I know people who have figured that out, but I think most people have not. And anyway, I mean, I have warned them. So when it happens, it's like, ain't like they weren't warned months ago that this was going to happen. Because when you keep telling me these finishes, I just keep thinking that like,
dude, all I did was watch good wrestling from all over the world and all sorts of different promotions. And there's one promotion where bad finish, count out, DQ for too much kicking ass. I'm like, come on.
I'm getting tired of some new. Well, you know what? Everyone's doing a lot of gimmick finishes right now. But that Big E Sami Zayn finish, it's like nobody's doing finishes like that anywhere else. That's they're still back in that like 1984 mindset. Let's do a funny finish. And it's like that's the one thing when you tell me this. I haven't watched the show, so I don't want to say too much about it. I'm only listening to the finishes, but I've seen the show every other week. And I mean, the thing is that it like. Even though, SmackDown did get a boost with those 3 big angles. So we had no Rey Mysterio and Buddy Murphy or nothing?
No.
Nothing at all?
I think they had a recap of it, unless I totally missed a segment.
Okay, because the whole Rey Mysterio and Dominic and Aaliyah thing, to me, like, which was a big part of SmackDown and before that Raw, when Baron Corbin got introduced into that angle, it felt like it just like took all the air out of that angle. It's like it went from the thing that I was most interested in on the show because I liked the soap opera and all that to like just like
literally the only thing on the show involving Ray was a Corbin promo where he introduced the Knights of the Lone Wolf.
Okay, so that's
how does a lone wolf have knights?
Why does a lone wolf have any partners?
Yes, he's supposed to be a lone wolf. That doesn't even make any sense.
If he's a lone wolf, he wouldn't want partners. Look, when it comes to WWE, that's minor.
It's like, you guys did SmackDown, I'm going to tell you what happened. The show opens with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso beating up Kevin Owens. Jey Uso then beats him up again in a backstage segment. He then beats him up again in a backstage segment. And this leads to the main event of the show where Kevin Owens comes out and they beat him up again. Like, if you don't know any better, you figure that Kevin Owens has to be winning this title.
But I don't expect that at all.
I mean, I don't expect it, but like I watched that show and I thought, how in the world? I mean, he's got nothing on Roman ever. He didn't get anything last week.
No one ever gets anything on Roman. That's the new deal. The thing is, like, if there was like some super baby face that they were building Roman for, like Roman used to be, with how they build Brock Lesnar up every year for Roman, it'd be one thing. And I suppose maybe maybe it's Drew, but they've had other ideas for Drew as well. I mean, but the thing is it's I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, because if there's the super baby face that they're building him for, it would make sense. But it's like they don't even have like with Kevin Owens this month. It's not like they had planned. I mean, you can look at how Kevin Owens had been booked, and you could see that there was no plan for Kevin Owens. The problem is that they have no baby faces on that side. They got Kevin Owens, Big E.
Gee, I wonder why.
Because they don't book baby faces. I mean, they don't make new baby faces, and they don't.
Yeah, but you know what? They didn't have a baby face ready, and so they decided it's going to be Kevin Owens, and then they spent the whole month making sure he didn't get over as a baby face.
Well, in their minds, that's how you get a baby face over, which is one of the reasons why they don't get any baby faces over.
Dave, let me ask you a serious question.
Yes.
Do they know that they don't have any baby faces over?
Clearly, because they threw Kevin Owens in this match with no planning. I mean, but no, I can't say. Let me take that back. I can't say. Well, I'm sure they think that Drew McIntyre's over.
Okay, but I mean, other than that, I mean, do they think that they got like a bunch of hot baby faces?
I don't think so, because the people who I talk to there never bring up anything about any hot baby faces.
Okay, so
no.
they do this shitty booking for every single baby face, every single time, and they have no baby faces, and nobody can figure out that maybe there's a correlation here.
You're talking to, it's mind-boggling. Hey, look, when I was watching Smackdown, I was absolutely dumbfounded by that Bayley Bianca Belair finish. I mean, I have no. I mean, I could not, in my wildest, I'm sure that they have their thing. Oh, well, she'll get it back later, and maybe she will, or maybe she won't. But that was like, what a stupid finish.
Not only was the finish stupid, but Bayley's coming off 9 straight losses, including tapping out to Bayley in 3 minutes, clean in the middle of the ring.
To Natalia.
Natty.
Yeah.
And now she goes in there and she beats Bianca with some move after allegedly raking her eyes. I mean, what?
I know. Look, their booking's terrible. I mean, it's really
horrific.
Yeah, it is the worst booking in all of wrestling. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. And it's not getting better. And they're just lucky that they're the name brand, because, for the name brand, boy, they're I don't know. It's just yeah. So anyway, the whole thing is like, that's how they think they're getting baby faces over, and there are no baby faces over. And what can I say? I mean, it is mind-boggling. It really is, especially for Vince McMahon, who actually was very good at getting baby faces over for decades, and now goes against everything that he ever did before, and it's working far worse than ever before. And one would think that he would just sit there and go like, but I'm completely at a loss. I mean, I watched the show, and I mean, I've been at a loss for a long, long time, but sometimes it was like, before I kind of knew, in the sense of there were people trying to get people over, but then Vince would fuck with them, and so nobody would get over. And I guess that's still going on, but it's like, now he's just like fucking with himself now. Who's he fucking with?
Dude, you got me. There was one good match on the show. It was Street Profits versus Ziggler and Rude.
Yeah, that was nice.
And that was like it. It's the only thing of value on the show.
I guess I thought that the Sami Zayn segment was really goofy. I didn't like it at all.
It was so dumb. So the story is that Sami Zayn is going to do the Sammy Awards. And so he goes out to do them, and Big E shows up, and he messes with the papers or whatever. So Sammy goes out there, and he is given the awards, and he says the comeback of the year goes to Sami Zayn, and he gives it to himself, and he blah, blah, blah. He says the match of the year, 3-way ladder match, which actually was a pretty good choice for WWE match of the year. And he says the superstar of the year, Big E. What? And I'm like, it's your fucking thing, dude. You didn't have to read Big E's name. But of course he did, and Big E comes out and beats him up, and it was so goofy.
Yeah.
And it did not make me want to watch the Slammies.
Oh, yeah, I know. I thought the Carmella thing was really bad, too.
Terrible. Just went on for an eternity.
Way too long.
Get the heat until people are sick of the person, and then go like 5 more minutes. Then they for sure cheer when Sasha comes out, but it's insufferable. And then same thing as last week. So they repeated the same angle. She broke a bottle over her.
Yep.
Don't care about that match.
I don't know if there's anything that would have made me care too much about that match for whatever reason.
Well, the build's been terrible. That's the reason.
To me, like Sasha Banks, part of the deal with Sasha Banks is that she has really good matches, and I suppose she might have a good match with Carmella, but on paper, when I look at it, it's not a match where I'm looking at it and going like, oh, I can't wait to see this match.
Dude, we saw the match last week. It was there at best.
It was just there. Yeah, I know. It was just there, and they had 10 minutes. It wasn't like it was a 2-minute match where we needed to see more. They did a regular match, and it was just like an average match. I don't expect them to be stealing the show, but yeah, I mean the ladder match should be good. Orton and the Fiend, whatever it is, who the hell knows. The New Day and Cedric and Shelton Benjamin's fine. It'll be good. And what else? So the Lashley match is probably with Matt Riddle's probably for Royal Rumble. That was the last that I heard. So they could, they may add it to the show today for all I know. But
Vince is going to keep this one in his back pocket for another 5 weeks.
I guess so. Or he could change his mind and put it on TV.
I would bet you anything it's going to be a TV match.
Yeah, and then Sami Zayn and Big E could be added, but they did the angle last night, so I could see that one being added, or that'll come up. They could still do the Street Profits and Rude and Ziggler because they gave you kind of an out for that finish with the guy Montez Ford using the trunks for the win, and yeah, that was that's the card. I mean, it's a card. I don't feel great excitement for the card at all, but as far as the wrestling matches go, it should be good.
All right, we had the Smackdown show on Friday night, which followed the NFL game, and we don't have the final ratings in yet, but everybody's talking about the overnights. Probably still going to end up the best Smackdown rating of the year, but...
Oh, it'll be the best rating of the year for sure. It was going to be. You get that NFL lead in, and, it's what it is. That's... And also, it was Christmas. It actually, pro wrestling on Christmas night is not going to do well. It's just not. But NFL on Christmas is going to do fantastic. They had the highest rated NFL Christmas game that they followed in 4 years. And, again, that's with the idea that ratings for the most part are dropping in most things on television. Although the NFL, for whatever reason, is the most immune to these drops, especially after the election. Before the election, the NFL, was definitely down. But once the election was over, it was funny because the NFL owners were basically told this, when this was going on. And the early stories, oh my God, even football ratings are down. And I remember the NFL sending out stuff to the teams and said, look, in 2016, this is what happened. And once the election's over, it reverted right back to normal. And that's what happened this year, too. So this Christmas rating of the game that was preceding them was I don't know the number, but I do know it was much higher than they expected, and the best in 4 years, like I said. So SmackDown had a phenomenal lead in, and I didn't watch the whole show, but I watched I've seen the first hour so far, and the one thing I liked. I mean, the two matches were both very good. Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens was good. I didn't like the finish. We already had the gimmick finish over and over and over again, and there's another one. And then the three women's match, the three-way women's tag match was very good. The thing that I noticed, and this is one of those things that a lot of times they miss, and it's like they were very much on the ball here, is Michael Cole as an announcer, and Graves to a lesser extent, very much knew that they were talking to a new audience, and they were setting the table in a different way than you would do for a normal wrestling show. It's like they were very cognizant. There were a lot of things said, trying to explain to people who everyone was, that sometimes when you do that, when you're following like a show where you know you're going to get a lot of new viewers watching, you just like kind of do the same announcing that you do for a normal week. And when you do that, a lot of the normal viewers, I mean, I know that this at times I've seen, with the AEW show that followed the NBA game, this week as well, but the one a couple of weeks ago, not a couple of weeks ago, but in October during the playoffs, when they were on, I think Saturday, I didn't think they set the table enough. This last week, it was more noticeable, but this one, I thought like they were, like usually they don't have to tell you, Kevin, who Roman Reigns is, but they were explaining, he's from the Anoa'i family and blah, 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 and just trying to like tell you who he is, and Kevin Owens, and he's the Street Fighter Kevin Owens, and, trying to tell you who the different people were more than usual, and it was, by the end, I mean, I'm sure that the audience was 2 hours in back to normal, just like with AEW. And obviously a basketball game that they followed, even though the basketball game did 2 million viewers. This football game's probably, I don't know what the number's going to be because it wasn't a primetime game and it was a Friday, but, is that 12 million or 15 million? I guess we'll know, on Tuesday. But it's much, much, much bigger to the point you can't even compare. Like, the basketball lead-in was good. AEW had a lot of new viewers. And I'm sure that there was if you watched from 10 to 12, which is also a later time slot, that the viewership, in the first quarter, I'm sure is much, much, much higher than it's going to be in the last quarter. And when those numbers come out, and I'll probably get them tomorrow or Tuesday, probably tomorrow. But, people will look, and if you want to look and be dishonest, you can go, oh my God, look at how much it dropped. And it's like, it was that doesn't mean anything. And it's the same with Smackdown. I'm sure that the first quarter was millions and millions of people, like whatever, maybe 4 to 5 million people. And the last quarter will probably be 2 million people. Not much up because the football viewers probably aren't going to watch 2 hours, and that going in. And, the one thing they did well is they went in there with that cage match first as a way to keep those viewers as much as they could. We're going to get our world champion in there, Universal Champion. We're going to put him in a cage match, and we're going to try to keep the viewers and then try to expose as many women as we can in the next segment. And then at the end, give you, try to keep you for the Intercontinental title. And, they knew that they had a chance to have a large audience, and they really loaded the show up. I mean, they didn't just go with a normal show at all. I'm sure that if there was no football, you wouldn't do a show like that, and there'd be no reason to, because you'd be throwing so much stuff out there for your lowest rating of the year, because Christmas would be under normal circumstances.
So the other matches that you missed were the Daniel Bryan Jey Uso match, which was a very, very good match. And Daniel Bryan won clean with the running knee. And they've done so much with Jey Uso that it actually felt like a big win for Daniel Bryan. And they worked it very well, good psychology. And then afterwards, Daniel Bryan was asked, what's next? And he said, I've done everything in my career, but the one thing that I have not done is I've never won the Royal Rumble. And so he has inserted himself into the 2021 Royal Rumble. So it's not going to be...
So he's not going to wrestle Roman Reigns at the Rumble?
It's not Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns at the Rumble. But he has done a lot of interviews talking about wanting to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. He's going hard into this. He says he's never even won a Battle Royal in his career. So his goal... They're strongly pushing that he's going to win the Rumble and face Roman at Mania.
Well, that was a possibility. I mean, I don't know why but if that's the case, I don't know why they're having Bill Goldberg out there teasing it, because that's really counterproductive. If they're not going to, it's like, why tease people with that if you're not going to do it? But I do know that Daniel Bryan was under consideration for, he was under consideration for the December pay-per-view. He was under consideration for the Rumble and WrestleMania, all of them, because they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not completely focused on anything. But, or maybe they could do it, whatever at some point. But they were going to do Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan this year. That was, but again, even saying that, it's like, I remember like a couple of years ago, they were going to do, Daniel Bryan was going to be, and I think it was when Roman Reigns was a babyface champion and Daniel Bryan was a heel. They were building Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, and they ended up going with Eric Rowan instead of Daniel Bryan, and they never got to Daniel Bryan. So, what they're starting to plan for and what they end up doing is obviously two completely different things anyway.
And then the main event was the Big E Sami Zayn lumberjack match, and it was fun. I mean, they did a happy ending for Christmas. The funniest part is that there are all these babyface and heel lumberjacks, and so they do this match, and the lumberjacks, every time Big E gets thrown outside, he gets beaten up. Every time Sammy gets thrown out, they just throw him back in. So finally, this big brawl breaks out, and all of the babyface and heel lumberjacks are brawling. And in the middle of this brawl, Sammy tries to just take off. He's going to run away. And he gets to the top of the ramp, and who was it? It was Apollo Crews, actually, just flies up the ramp, and he tackles this guy. And all the babyface start carrying him down the ramp back to the ring. And as they get down there, there's no heels. They have completely vanished off the face of the earth. So it's Big E, Sammy, and all the babyfaces. And Big E hits him with the big ending, gets the pin. Everybody goes nuts. Big E goes and celebrates with Corey. They do the big confetti celebration. Happy ending on Christmas. It was actually really cool. So I would say this is the best SmackDown probably since Bayley and Sasha broke up and we're having great segments on the show every week. So very good show. There you go.
Yeah. It was. I mean, what I saw was I thought was real good. I mean, especially I thought it was a good show for new viewers. There was nothing. I guess like the Roman Reigns finish, I should say, if you're a new viewer, I'm not sure that you really would like that finish.
Yeah, but you know what? We say that as people that watch screwed up finishes all the time. And if you don't watch WWE, I mean, it was very clever, and they did screw the babyface, and they did give the babyface an out, and Roman Reigns came off as a total dick for winning that way.
But if you're a casual fan and you see that, it's a lot more bullshit than you're a wrestling fan who accepts that stuff. Casual fans will just go, that's, like a wrestling fan will go, oh, that's creative. A casual fan will just go, that's bullshit. That's stupid. I invested 25 minutes to see that. So it's like, I would not have done that finish on a show with football fans watching, because football fans are just going to go like, if they're, it's like they're outside.
Well, hey, if they're going to become fans, they better get used to it.
Well, that's not, they better get used to it. It's pretty bad, because in real life, if you were booking for 2020 fans and 2020 people, because you got to remember, like in sports, they don't do screw jobs anymore. Like they have instant replays. They do this stuff, like all the stuff that like wrestling did, which was an exaggeration of real sports in the 70s that wrestling hasn't grown out of. Although I shouldn't say that, because wrestling has grown out of it in much of the world. To a degree. I mean, yeah, I know we get outside interference in New Japan, which sucks there too, by the way. But you usually, you don't get it all the time. It's too much now for sure. Before it wasn't too much. But the thing is that like you can accept that as part of 2020 sports culture or 2020 entertainment culture. Whereas WWE is still doing that shit from the 70s that was like, let's screw the people and keep them coming back for more, except back then, it worked at a different level because you had babyface that were really over and you were looking for revenge, and there was that mentality, and now you don't have that. It's not like people are going to go when this is over and just go, oh, Kevin's going to get him back, and I just can't wait for we just had the cage match. Now what do we do? The non-handcuff allowed match? It's like it's just another screw job. So it's like, yeah, I mean, like if you're watching, like, yeah, you got to get used to it. It's like, you know what? Maybe on a show where you have a lot of new viewers that are actually like living in 2020, maybe you don't do it on that show. Maybe you just go in there and go like, maybe you don't need to do it. That's what I think. I think maybe if you don't want to have people go, boy, this is bullshit, or you could go, oh, it's wrestling and it's funny. Who cares about who wins and loses? It's like, well, you do that. No one cares who wins and loses, which is a lot of the audience now. And that's a negative too. and everyone else in wrestling is trying to rebuild while the top guy is still doing this, and it makes it kind of impossible because people, will view it under the, all under the same cloth. Like people, and even now, I mean, I know like with like AEW not doing DQs and stuff, people, why don't they do DQs? Why don't we do screw jobs? And it's like for that very reason, it's like people, the WWE, what's it called? The WWE teachings permeate all through. I mean, God, how many times I have to hear about, like, I can't wait until Cody challenges for the title. And then maybe he will someday in years. In WWE, obviously, it would be in months, because in WWE, they say something and they always violate it. And people think, well, whatever. And that's one of the reasons why, in every case, with everyone, if you do a big stip like that, it doesn't draw because no one believes in it because they've been taught not to believe in it. And that was, a lot of what the business in the past, the big gate, the big thing where you drew your biggest crowd was when you had this stip because people believed, whether it's the cage match or a hair match or a championship, I'll never challenge for the title again. Those things used to pop numbers because people believed in the ramifications. Now, when they don't believe in the ramifications, they do not pop numbers because we've had a whole generation taught that it's all bullshit. And that, what's the word I'm looking for? The attempt to re-educate them. I mean, that's going to take a long, long, long time because people are just in the back of their heads going to go, this is wrestling. It's all bullshit. So, I'm sounding like Jim Cornette, but that's the reality as far as like drawing goes. Like if you tell people that, we give you this stip, we're going to give you a cage match, and it's a perfect example. We're going to give you a cage match, and there's going to be no interference, and we're going to finally settle it, and then you do a finish like that. It's just like, it's, if you are a fan, it teaches you something, and you get out of it. You get out of it for the night, but the long-term damage is very big, and that's the deal. And now it's like almost irreversible.
So for Raw tomorrow, we have nothing announced outside of Alexa Bliss is going to do something. What does she have planned for Randy Orton, I believe, was the way they advertised it. So,
well, it's like a secret, whatever's going to happen when the Fiend comes back. So.